Up next on MOTV Forecast, we're tracking a mid-Atlantic soaker. Find out where and when the heaviest rain will fall over the mid-Atlantic states. Also up next, find out how much rains from Cristobal help the drought situation along the Gulf Coast, and if more rain is in the forecast. And from the west coast to the east coasts of the lower 48, we have your national forecast. That's all right here, right now on MOTV Forecast. Well, welcome into MOTV Forecast and happy Friday. I'm student meteorologist Riley Winch, and we have a lot to talk about today, including a Gulf erasure of the drought along the Gulf Coast, and a low pressure system is going to be getting stuck along the eastern seaboard, and unfortunately that's going to mean some rainy weather for the mid-Atlantic. And then we'll have your national forecast tying together every part of the nation, talking about the weather that will be going on over the next week. So welcome into MOTV Forecast. I'm here every 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Fridays here on Facebook Live. And let's start off today with our Gulf drought relief, because this is a pretty amazing story that we've had going on, especially in the state of Florida for our past 2 months about here. As you can see, April 21st, our drought monitor across the state of Florida was showing a pretty wide stretch of moderate to severe drought along the state, and that's less than 2 months ago. But over the past 2 months, we've had a pretty rainy stretch of time here in Florida. And as you can see, April 28th, you start seeing the drought getting chipped away a little bit across Florida. And by the time we head to June 2nd, which was a week ago this past Thursday, almost all the drought was erased from the Florida Peninsula, while we still had some drought along the northeastern Gulf Coast. Now, the Panhandle to the stretch all the way to New Orleans, really seeing the bulk of the drought along the Gulf Coast last Thursday. But then we had Cristobal move through. And then when Cristobal moved through, it essentially created a lot of rain. We had a lot of rainfall. Some areas along the Gulf Coast seeing upwards of 12 to 18 inches of rain from Cristobal. And that really had a big effect on the drought. And if we take a look at our latest drought monitor from this past Thursday, we can see the drought has almost entirely disappeared, except for a very slight dry to moderate drought along the coastal regions of Mississippi and Alabama. But honestly, the past 2 months have been a very rainy time for the southeastern United States, and it has wiped out the drought across the Florida Peninsula and most of the Gulf Coast. So let's take a look and see if we will be seeing any rain or more wet conditions across the Sunshine State of Florida. And let's use Aripeka, Florida as an example. As you can see in Aripeka, having a beautiful day today. A little hot and muggy, temperatures flirting with the 90s, but not seeing much in terms of rainfall precipitation today. The time we do have to worry about some afternoon thunderstorms will be this weekend. Very hot, muggy days leading into stormy afternoons into the evenings. Those are the kind of days you should be expecting for this upcoming weekend, but as we head into early next week, we're going to be expecting some more dry conditions. So not too much rain on the way from Florida, but your typical spotty thunderstorm for this time of year, especially over this weekend. Now, let's switch gears here to our mid-Atlantic soaker, which is really going to be because we're going to be seeing a low-pressure system stalling and not moving much over the eastern portion of the United States. So it's going to be staying there for the next couple days, and it's going to be bringing in moisture from the Atlantic Ocean. And this is really going to be an issue for the mid-Atlantic. And we're expecting through our rainfall outlook here, seeing rainfall precipitation stretching anywhere from Florida up into potentially parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. But the bulk of that precipitation is going to fall in the Carolinas. And if we take a look at Raleigh, North Carolina, an area that's going to be about one of the wettest places of the country over the next couple days, we're expecting a nice day today and tomorrow, seeing that sun peek out and temperatures in the low to mid 80s. As we head into early next week, we start seeing the precipitation and storms move in on our Sunday afternoon, and then really widespread storms and rain throughout the area as we head into your Monday and Tuesday of next week. And it's going to be staying pretty wet and pretty consistent rain for areas in the Carolinas, especially here in Raleigh. And if we take a look here at Flanders, where I currently am, beautiful day today, temperatures flirting with the 80s, but notice how nice our next 5 days of the week are going to be. Not expecting any precipitation over the next 5 days. This weekend is going to be beautiful and into early next week. And especially notice those temperatures. Those temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 70s as we head throughout our weekend into early next week. So not only are we going to be seeing no precipitation, but beautiful weather in terms of temperature. It's going to feel very nice outside. So definitely take advantage of that if you are working from home. If you are, have some free time, maybe go for a walk in the park. It's definitely going to be a nice stretch of days here in Flanders, New Jersey. Now, let's switch gears here to our national forecast, starting off with a place like Seattle, Washington. Unfortunately, not going to be as nice for you. It is a rainy time of the year in Seattle. Expecting to see some showers today, thunder showers tomorrow. The nicest day, really, where we're not going to be seeing much in terms of rainfall chances will be our Sunday, where we're expecting partly cloudy conditions and our warmest day of the week being 66 degrees there. So a little chilly and a little rainy, but for June in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, that is to be expected. So make sure you have your umbrella on ready and handy there in Seattle. Now, moving to our national map here, we can see today is shaping up to be a very nice day for most of the country. We can see a lot of sun icons popping off across the board here. Only real areas where we're seeing some precipitation is the Pacific Northwest and parts of the Southeast. And notice things are staying hot, especially in the South Central Plains, areas like Texas, seeing temperatures in the 90s, and we're going to be seeing that continue as well. Notice tomorrow, we're seeing that rain stick, the threat for rain sticking in the Pacific Northwest and the Southeast. Other parts of the country, you're going to be seeing some fairly nice weather, and that same scenario stays in place as we head into our Sunday, although notice a lot of the wet weather starting to fill in the mid-Atlantic areas like West Virginia, the Carolinas, into the Sunshine State of Florida. Starting to see some more storm icons pop up there. But as we head into our Monday, we really see that wet weather stick around in the southeast and mid-Atlantic. And same story as we head into our Tuesday. And notice temperatures, especially in areas in Texas, staying hot. Some temperatures flirting with the hundreds if we take a look into our Tuesday and into our Wednesday. Although staying dry over much of the country, not much to talk about in terms of precipitation, unless you're somewhere like the Mid-Atlantic, where into Wednesday we still could be seeing a fairly wet setup in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, if we take a look into our Thursday, we can see, the wet weather starts to clear out for most of the country and into the Mid-Atlantic, more seeing spotty chances of rain. But still, we're going to be talking about this wet weather sticking around in the Mid-Atlantic for a couple days here. But otherwise, most of the country will be in on some beautiful weather. So thank you so much for joining me here today on MOTV Forecast. I hope to see you guys next Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And if you're not seeing where you live represented in these forecasts, just let me know where you live and I will include your 5-day forecast for our next stream. Well, thank you so much for joining me here on MOTV Forecast. I hope you have a beautiful weekend and take advantage of it. We're going to be having some really nice weather for you guys here across much of the lower 48 the next week. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm student meteorologist Riley Winch, signing off.